in the name of Solomon just happened there, Greymanes? I finished a video on patch 1.16 and all hell broke loose. We had 4 fixes come in since then. I will timestamp this footage. This is 1.1604, so just prior to that new 1.17. We're going to look at all of it, even, quality, sharpness on, sharpening off. My name is Couchcoop and I am your local Crimson Desert patch whisperer.
Dopamine administered.
So disaster struck when I was hearing back from some people who'd got to 1.163 and they couldn't get their loads working. 0.2 was also causing problems. 0.4 sort of ironed it out. So I was expecting 1.17 to be massive. It's the size of a postage stamp, unfortunately. However, they have, at least on my side, ironed a lot of all those glitches out with some of the saves and the loads and the UI just going crazy. I've heard some unbelievable stuff. This is balanced with everything on in the rain. Obviously still a bit of an offender on that mode. I think the rain full stop is something that needs focus, but they'll probably get to that after they've added another 15 pet slots. And on the pet and companion front, I don't deliberately have any with me when I'm doing these tests. I've convinced myself they do affect the performance somehow. This is all base level PlayStation footage and it's all at the medium distance setting on the character position. This is previous patch on the pans. We're going to stay in this spot and go through all of it. No change. You'll know I've got that issue with the camera going a bit jerky when I'm doing a circle around the character. That is blatantly still there. Okay, over to 117 and we're going to keep everything on the balanced front. 4K, RT, sharpening, and we're in the same spot basically. No better, no worse, more importantly. Let's take that sharpening off, keep it on balance, just check what has changed on that front, and again, no major differences. Back to the previous video, sharpening doesn't really have the larger effect it used to on performance, which is kind of a good thing. I'm just convinced they've taken the edge off it a little bit, pun intended, and it not being the major resolution improvement it was sold as, or when it was first implemented. Let's do something insane and go over to quality mode and leave everything on, see how those pans actually pan out. And I'm always saying this about quality now recently, just not that massively disappointed anymore. It used to be horrendous, brackets out of combat, but you're kind of looking at the best this game can appear. 4K, really crisp edges, amazing resolution, half decent frame rates. I think PS4 Pro owners are the only people that really get to indulge in this part of the game. What about quality mode up above the trees and houses? Not terrible, right, for a base level machine. Why don't you try that over Delicia? No, we won't have to do that today. And just a bit of horseback in quality. And again, as mentioned, not a terrible looking mode anymore. At the start, at the launch, this was unplayable. So we are getting somewhere on those base level machines with that particular mode. Okay, before we jump into the combat test, I've got to confess something. Domain's moveset, I just have not got my head around it yet. This game is still wowing me on the combat controls and the variation. She's so quick and fast, and obviously two-handed swords. So yeah, view with caution. So first example, balance mode, everything on, including sharpening.
You should have run away. After you talked, fall onwards. I saw that coming.
Not bad, not any worse than the previous recent patches, so they haven't ruined anything on that front. I was talking about how the soldiers look quite crisp and detailed now compared to previous stuff, 0.9 and 10, etc. Sharpening off, you would think, would give it a massive jump. Not really that much difference. let's try the dreaded quality combat combo. And yeah, it's difficult. The frames are very low. Resolution's great, don't get me wrong, but this isn't enjoyable on a base level PlayStation 5 for me. Let's wheel out the old loony performance mode. And you would have heard me mention this before, this game should be performing at 60 frames per second in a mode like this, with everything pulled off 4K, RT, etc. If you watch the video on 1.16, you'll know that we are getting a lot closer to that. This, in places, looks like a PEG 16.
Spots in your defense. I saw that coming. Prepare to die.
And just look at this, staying in performance mode is just a smooth dream compared to some of the other graphical options. This whole game should feel like this, but with RT and 4K, please. And you might be thinking, I've watched so many of these damn videos, this game is not going forward, backwards if anything after patch 1.13. Trust me on this, something will drop. They'll find something that's a loose end, that someone forgot to do, that chugs everything. They did it with Elden Ring and they did it with Cyberpunk. It just took a very long time. I think we will get there. I will be covering every major patch in this format right up until GTA 6 releases. Jokes. This will be on my calendar right to the end of the year. It's going to be my game of the year potentially. So stay tuned. We will get to the promised land, Greymanes. I will see you down there.